So let's talk about what's going on at the museum, which
Yes.
is the living part of Motown here in the city. You have big plans, and you're raising big money.
We are. That's all true. I mean, truly, the highlight for me when I think about the entire year, it was that moment we broke ground.
Yeah.
You know, having, my uncle here, Barry Gordy here, all of our other supporters. It meant so much to say, this is that moment, this project is real, and this vision is going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Having the support of our donors, that night we announced $1 million gift from John Rogers, the head of Ariel Investments. And so we had just announced my uncle's gift of $4 million. So it just showed that there's so much support for this vision. And it was just very real in that moment.
Yeah.
Really.
So most people watching probably have been to the Motown Museum before, and it's really cool now. But
Yeah.
you are really talking about creating something entirely different with this expansion. Talk about how different it will be and what some of the influences are for that.
So let me start with what won't change, because this would get you lots of, calls and
That's right.
emails.
People
so
saying, "You're getting rid of that."
What won't change
That's right.
is Hitsville, USA.
Right.
The crown jewel of Motown Museum. That is why people travel from all over this planet to come to Hitsville.
Yes.
Right? They want to stand in the footsteps of Stevie Wonder and Smokey Robinson and the Miracles and the Supremes. And I mean, that authentic DNA doesn't change. But what the expansion does allow us to do is really activate the inspiration that you get when you come to that space. And so I was talking about, my grandmother, Esther Gordy Edwards, who founded the museum. She really just wanted to make sure that history wasn't lost over time, and that people understood what these young people that we talked about, what they created there and the profound impact they had on the world. So that was good. What we're doing is we're saying, let's build on that. And when people come and they are inspired, let's find a way to connect them to something to elevate their own potential. So if it is a mother or grandmother or that mother or grandmother saying, I want to cultivate my singing or my songwriting, or I'm interested in entrepreneurship, we're going to give them some place to plug in and train and mentor and connect them to industry. And so anyway, it's all about creating opportunity, which is exactly what Motown did in Detroit.
And the scale here, 50,000 more square feet, it seems to reflect, I think, appropriately, the scale of this legacy.
Absolutely.
Not that there's anything wrong with the current museum, but I think you would expect it to be on the scale that you're trying to build now.
Well, I always say, we started by getting the original homes, right? Securing those original homes. And those homes tell an important story about Motown's humble beginnings, the entrepreneurial spirit of Motown, but the story doesn't stop there. And so what the newer construction does is it shows you what rises from that. And, it becomes multi-sensory, multimedia, a music lover's playground, but still, wrapped in this story of Motown and how did the impossible happen on West Grand Boulevard. And that's what everybody wants to know.
Your uncle said earlier this year he is going to retire from entertainment, which also seems impossible.
I don't know what that means.
Right? How is that going to work?
I don't know what that means coming from somebody who has been creative his entire life, But he is in a space in his life where he's pouring into other people who are making things happen, and he sees himself as a teacher and wants to pass along his wisdom and his lessons learned. And I can say I feel really honored as his great niece to be the recipient of a lot of that wisdom.
Is he going to be more involved maybe in the museum? Is he going to have more time to be connected to
I will tell you what he told me while he was here, because I made the mistake of telling him that there was something I couldn't reach him for. And he said, don't ever say that. He said, you can reach me whenever you need to.
Right.
And so I say that to say that, he already has tremendous input in creatively what we will bring to this, but we go to him.
Yeah.
And we let him, work with the team and give us wisdom and keep us on track.
Yeah. What's the timetable for getting all this done?
It's when we raise the dollars.
Get all of the money in place, yeah.
Yeah, and I keep saying that, and people say, Robin, I know it's when but that's real.
Yeah.
We have been successful in raising half the dollars needed, $25 million, which is a tremendous milestone, but we've got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And so, we're looking for partners and people who want to invest in this really unique opportunity to leverage such an important part of our culture and the future.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hard to come up with anything really that is more reflective of us as Detroiters and of this city over the last half century than Motown.
I would agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, what else would we try to build to sort of tell that story, other than something like the Motown Museum?
And something that speaks so loudly about us as Detroiters all over the world.
Yeah.
I think that's what continues to keep me in awe of this legacy, because I meet people who I think should have no connection, and they feel as personal about it as I do, and I'm like, you're from this remote place around the globe. How could it possibly mean so much to you?
Yeah.
But it does.
The music spoke to everybody. Yeah.
It really did. And I think in a really profound way, Motown music did something nothing else could, and that was bringing people together. And people who were very, very different beliefs, different faiths, but somehow this music created a space for them to celebrate together, and that's been reflective of our entire year.
Yeah.